All right, we back, party people. Another episode of Couch Potatoes. Your host, Rich B. I am your host, Rich B. Let me back that up. With my man, my mellow, my man.
Hello, hello, how you doing? I'm here with the Rich B, the richest of the bees. If they had honey, he would be the richest flavor of the bees because he's the king of the bees.
Y'all right? we'll go with that. Um, we just chilling right now, kicking it, approaching different topics for y'all. What is really going on in hip hop right now is what I want to talk about. Cause it's weird. It's very weird right now. Like Mela, what's your thoughts on the current state of hip hop and some of the stories that's been circulating around?
I think that, honestly speaking, man, it's a lot going on in hip hop that is more so coming to the forefront. I think there's a lot of things that's been going on, even down to coming up with beefs and seeing the behind the scenes of how people are really operating. I think it shows a different light on the industry and what they're trying to push and how the industry as a system works. I feel like there's a lot of things that we go about, in life or just dealing and living about different things and or different systems, excuse me, and we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes or how it works. And in the music industry now, we're really seeing it. Like there's always been talks about how industry stuff was more so like, they're pushing agendas or they're pushing music more or they doing these things like Drake doing the lawsuit itself, the things that he attacked showed in light what they were doing for him, which shows a light on what the industry as a whole scape was going on, you know, as a whole, you know what I'm saying? So now people that are just average listeners, even that don't do deep researches, really seeing a new light of what's going on. Like I feel like there's more of an influx of people that are coming who are being lyricists and really get into, the essence of hip hop and stuff. I think that they're really like getting a shine now. And at this point, like people are able who have been coming in with even through the mumble rap era, the mumble rap era and all that stuff. Now they are, even if they were hooked by something else, now they're really sitting down and being able to listen to at least what they figure as more lyrical thing, which hopefully leads them back to the origins and stuff. But right now, it's taking a turn. But there is still a lot of stuff we just got to work through as a musical culture.
What you mean by it's taking a turn?
Because, like, for example, just um, the clips. Most people don't really know about the clips. A lot of the listeners that have come through, like between the era of the origins of hip hop into what's hip hop now, like I know we talk, people talk about mumble rap and stuff and talk about how it was BS and stuff, but a lot of people joined the hip hop flock to make it as big as it is as a commercial, at least in a commercial aspect during these periods. And now they're joining with Drake coming in, and now it's like I, I can see why it's very digestible for them. So now they're in the room listening because of these other forms of hip hop. But now that people like the clips are getting a shine, like man, they rapped at the Vatican and stuff, man. Now they getting a shine. People that were in the room just to listen to what real hip hop people or OG hip hop listeners would be like ain't really hip hop. They just came for, well, I guess they came for the snack and stayed for the dinner. You know what I'm saying? They came in with that just to get in the room, but now they're having a chance to listen to real hip hop, listen to what it means to somebody really put thought into their craft and make something that's bigger than just like ABC rap. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what it is. More so like, yeah, we had an era that wasn't conducive to what the beginning and the origins of hip hop was pushing, but that did bring a lot of people into the room that I feel are now really faced with something of, okay, so okay, I may not know exactly how deep hip hop go, but now I really have to think about it. Like, okay, you saying this is not. What examples are y'all giving me? Okay, the people y'all are giving me, let me listen to them, and I'm understanding. Okay, damn, it is another level. You know
Right.
what I mean? But just having them in the room to make that distinction is a good thing. The problem is while they're in the room, they got people still whispering that, oh no, this ain't real hip hop when the real hip hop does show up. And I think that's the current crusade. It's a fight between what really is hip hop and what it's not. And I think the people that don't really know that distinction yet because they didn't go through that are more so listen to what sounds good and what doesn't instead of what's really hip hop and what's not. And the people that know that distinction are having the conversations with them and they don't understand why they can why they're not understanding each other. And I think it's that the people that are coming that don't understand real hip hop are basing who wins off what they feel sounds best. And if you fucking love R&B to the fullest and then you come over here and listen to real hip hop, that's completely different genre. But you listen to somebody that I guess is giving you a in between of what you consume the most, and then you come over here and listen to it too, you might be like, all right, yeah, this. I like this better because it gives you a mix of the other stuff you listen to as well.
I, what I what I one thing that you said that I like is they came for the snack and stayed for the dinner, and I think that fits when you're talking about the lovers of commercial rap versus the lovers of hip hop. And I would say I think what happened, but I'm going to say I know what happened because at my age and seeing uh, existing before there was actual hip hop, and then seeing hip hop being developed, I understand where hip hop came from. I understand what hip hop was because a lot of people think that hip hop is a genre of music and it's not. Hip hop is a movement birthed by people that had no voices, so they chose to voice what was going on in their neighborhoods and their plight and their way of life. And more so than anything, it was a way to stop taking their irritations and their anger out on each other. Stop fighting each other, stop killing each other. And so we devised a whole culture centered around music, dance, graffiti, and DJing. And eventually the MC came along, who was actually the actual voice of hip hop, because everything else was the movement, which is what hip hop is. The movement of music, the movement of graffiti. When you're tagging the wall, your hand has to move a certain way once you start feeling to be able to emote your art, so it can be visual. Same thing with the DJ. Same thing with the MC. The MC had to vocalize and paint pictures with their words. So, but if you don't know any of those things, you would think hip hop is just like what you hear and see on the radio, or what's being pushed predominantly through the industry on the commercial side, and that's why you would care about how many streams a person had, how many awards a person had, like their first week sale, their first week. None of that has anything to do with hip hop. Hip hop will exist outside of that whole framework, and if that's your only point of reference and your only linchpin to what hip hop is, you're gonna get left behind because you don't know the source to begin with. Hip hop can never die as a culture and as a movement because it's based on the people. As long as the people are living and breathing, hip hop will continue to live and breathe, regardless of what everybody like. Like it's so many keep it real era rappers who, in their heyday, that's all they were. That's all they were talking about. I keep it real. I keep it real. I keep it. They put it in the lyrics. What I say is what I really live with. No, y'all been faking the whole time. Y'all been faking the whole time because the majority of you cats are the same ones now who are caping for a pop artist over a real hip hop artist. You're putting on these uniforms to cosplay hip hop in pursuit of the cat that everybody has said was the big breadwinner, but he's never been hip hop. He's always been a pop star. But the cat who's actually hip hop, who stands on hip hop, who represents hip hop to the fullest, taking this time to bring the people the art from his viewpoint, regardless of if he could be outside all the time, like everybody else is. He takes his time, creates his art, brings it to the people, and if he is blessed to win awards, he still talks about hip hop in front of all the people that y'all say we shouldn't want these things from to begin with. But he don't get up there and address them. He addresses us. With the music, he addresses us. When he has a chance to speak words out of his own mouth in the public, he still addresses us. It's weird, but I understand because I saw the perversion of hip hop from the roots to the commercial. So yeah, like someone your age and your generation, what do you think about like the current landscape of what's going on right now?
In aspect, like in retrospect to what?
Like I know, the people that we talking to might not know, but I know that you've been doing deep dives into uh old school hip hop, and not only that, but other genres of music. So, in your foray into all of that, what have you gleaned from the understanding that you had before you went on this journey into what you have now, and then in retrospect and in hindsight of the landscape of what hip hop is right now?
I will say that like I've always been privileged and blessed enough to be around a good array of music. So like even when communicating with you, I've always been able to relate to the sentiments that you give because I've always been around, real hip hop. Like so when you say that, like there's a distinctiveness that I've already understood from my like listenings of hip hop from just being a part of the culture even throughout my lifetime. You know what I mean? And I was blessed enough throughout that time to where my mom, especially, like, was very musically inclined. So, like, I heard a lot of R&B. Like, even now, like, I consume a lot of different genres because that's what she did on a regular as well. But, like, even then, like, hip hop was a major thing. So I understood the difference between the poppy stuff and the real lyrical stuff. Now, I will say that even during this time and during this journey, I have the difference between now is, I will say, especially within this last year, I will say, I have all the artists that I knew from the origins of hip hop. I have started to go back and listen to full projects. Like I'll decide to take a day and listen to a full album of theirs and analyze it. Before I knew a good catalog or a good catalog of music based on these different artists, but this is the first time where I've went and fully went through their catalog, album by album, song by song, to really understand what's out there. And it also gives you a different perspective because even when hip hop had real lyrical people and real, really putting in the struggles, really putting in their emotions and their feels into the music, there was still a mainstream version of what they were doing. There's certain songs that certain artists put out. Like, first off, Nas put Uchi Wale Wale Uchi Bang Bang out, and that was on the radio. And I ain't gonna lie, it took me to adulthood to realize that was Nas because all of the Nas I went to go listen to was a lot different than Uchi Wale Wale, but that was on the radio. So there is still, back then, even still a mainstream version of what hip hop was. So being able to go actually through the catalog and peruse and really see song for song, like it does put a different perspective on, because there's stuff that is lyrically exceeding what I already knew when I go and actually listen to the projects, because the most lyrical and statemental stuff that people put out wasn't on the radio. You know, growing up, like the only things I heard was radio and the actual albums that were bought and we played in the house,
Right.
which was a good amount. Blessingly enough, I grew up to where that was a good amount of music, but you know, that's still to this, you know, at the way the scope of today is and how easy music is accessible today, that had no comparison. Like there were certain artists I would hear, but if we didn't buy the album, I didn't hear those other songs. And to this day, I go back and listen to even some of my favorite artists. I go back and listen to CeeLo Green. Now, I had most of his albums. I can't say that. Maybe not CeeLo Green. I go back and listen. Well, I can't say that about Bow Wow because I had his albums. I know them songs. You
Bow
know,
Wow was big for your time.
Hey, Bow Wow was B bad. Oh, outstanding. W. Everybody know I'm the wickedest. Wow. That's what the girls on screen when I come on the screen and proceed to get down. Come on, yeah.
He was big for your era.
Yeah, of course. That boy. Hey, look, Jermaine Dupri wrote his stuff great. Like, but yeah, that being able to go back and actually look through the catalog song by song now with the accessibility that we do have with streaming services, it does put a different appreciation, even though I had one already that I know most people don't. It does. And honestly, it's because of you, man. You put me on that real shit. Well, you've definitely encouraged me to go back and listen to more, because even down to shit Nas, like it's so much of the catalog of Nas that I've listened to just through my life, because what the fuck, you gotta listen to Nas. But it's so many, like, okay, actually going back and being like, okay, let me actually listen to him album for album, song for song. It puts a whole different perspective. Knowing 10 of somebody's songs is completely different than knowing 30 of somebody's songs. It put a whole different spin, because you'd be like, wow, like
Especially if they're quality.
quality.
Especially if they're quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's I had a I'm not gonna say a conversation because it was on Facebook.
That's still, hey, it's still conversation.
Yeah, but it was on this on the topic of, I'm gonna say who's the best rapper, because I can't remember the exact wording of the post. So I'm gonna say who was the best rapper between Kendrick and Wayne. And when I scroll through the comments, because I'm interested in the comments, I want to see what people, how the posts of the people, what they feel like. And the majority of the comments were leaning towards Wayne. Now, eventually, it started to be more and more Kendrick. But my comment in the comment section was, the people who are saying Wayne, it was based off of nostalgia. And I got some pushback on that, as I should, because it's a hip hop discussion group. We're supposed to be able to debate these topics. But my standpoint was, anybody saying Wayne, you're going off of nostalgia, obviously, because this dude has been doing this for such a long time at such a young age. But when he came into the game with a group that was Hot Boys, right?
Yeah.
So I'm rhyming as Wayne with the Hot Boys, and he might have been writing bars for some of the members of Hot Boys, right?
Yeah.
So now he get his solo career. He has albums, he has mixtapes, and he has a tremendous feature run. Like, you, at a point in time, you could not get away from Wayne. Wayne was on everything with everybody. If it's an award award show or whatever, he might be on 3 to 4 of the 5 people who was nominated for that award in any single category. You know what I'm saying? Without the obvious ones, he wouldn't be involved in. So you could not get away from him, right? So it's a certain amount of nostalgia that comes with that, because you grew up with this dude. A lot of y'all got y'all heart broke, and Lil Wayne was somewhere around. Some of y'all bagged the flyest chick, from that moment in time in your life, and Lil Wayne was involved. Some of y'all scored the game winning touchdown, and Lil Wayne was involved. So it's nostalgia involved with that, or attached to it, I should say, in your memory bank. So when these songs come, they you're ingratiated to them, and you're more moved by them because they were attached to a staple event or a moment in your life. Now, fast forward to now. We're talking about Kendrick Lamar, a cat who came into the game also at a young age, who started out battling, got affiliated with TDE and signed. Before he ever was able to like record his own music and have his own voice, he started out being J Rock's hype man, who happened to be on tour with Tech Nine, and tragically, the original hype man for J Rock lost his life, and Kendrick became a stand-in on the same tour with Tech Nine that J Rock, because J Rock was the front man for TDE at this point in time. Kendrick was not that dude. He was making his bones, but he was yet to be like the predominant voice that you would hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we fast forward. Like I said, Kendrick is J Rock's hype man. He's on the tour with Tech Nine. Tech Nine sees Kendrick and sees something in him. So from him being J Rock's hype man, Tech Nine takes Kendrick out on tour with him to where he's able to actually use his voice and show his skills. He parlayed that into everything else. A lot of people love to, like when the whole beef and everything popped off, the whole narrative was, well, Kendrick is just bitter and he's a hater because Drake took him out on tour first. Wrong. The channel Charlie Murphy. Wrong. Tech Nine took him out on tour first. Based off of him being a hype man for J Rock. Drake took him on tour after that because now he's making noise. Before Drake ever took Kendrick on tour, Kendrick had his own tour in Toronto. Or show date, I should say. A show date in Toronto. Guess what date that show date was when Kendrick appeared in Toronto without Drake even like really knowing Kendrick before he even took him on tour?
What was the date?
The date was 6/16. Let that sink in. So 6/16, after a Tech Nine tour appearance as a hype man for J Rock, who Tech Nine saw something in him and took him on a separate tour where he was able to actually get his bars out and segue that into a tour date in Toronto. It just so happened to be on 6/16, and Drake reaches out to Kendrick because he's in Toronto, and Kendrick meets up with him, which Kendrick memorialized on Buried Alive that I believe was on Take Care. The only feature I believe that was on that album was a Kendrick Lamar song called Buried Alive, where he tells the story of how he met Drake after being on tour with Tech Nine and having his show in Toronto, and Drake reached out to him after the show, and he went to go kick it with Drake, and Drake was trying to tell him, hey, you don't belong to yourself no more. You belong to the game. You belong to the fans. You belong to the industry, and this is what you have to do in order to be this person. If you want what I got, this is what you got to do. And Kendrick got resentful of Drake once he realized that Drake was his same age and he was talking to him crazy like that. Because what Kendrick had always represented up to that point was hip hop.
Real hip hop.
And not selling out. And not crossing over just for the sake of crossing over. Because y'all don't even know what crossing over is. Back where I'm from, when hip hop was established, The whole thing was not to cross over. Crossover meant the industry did not fuck with hip hop. The industry did not understand hip hop. White folk and black folk, musicians across the board, hated hip hop because hip hop would take their compositions of music and chop them up and make new songs. And to them, it was just talking over the beat. They didn't understand what it was. So they had a crazy dislike for it and disrespect it. Only when hip hop became undeniable, now the people with the money, the vultures, came. And the idea was not to sell out, not to cross over, not to take the thing that we created from grassroots, from our we created hip hop from the desire to not want to do physical harm to each other anymore. Let that sink in. And now people who had no fucking idea where this love for this thing came from wanted in on it to monetize it, to pervert it, and to change it into something it was never destined to be. It was never designed to be commercial. It was for us. It was for us to not stop being angry at each other. A reason for us to come together without throwing blows. Now I can see if I tag better than you, meaning graffiti. Now I can see if I dance better than you, meaning breakdance. Now I see if I can scratch and cut up records, right, to make a sequential beat better than you, which was DJing. Now I can see if I can body you with my lyrics, which is MCing.
What I think that people don't understand is like when they look at history, they think. I mean, when you look at history, you see other societies, and there's always things that people do that they utilize to show who's on top. Even if you go back to times where there was gladiators, we don't really do that now, but that was a statement to them. Like, man, we're gonna step in here and do it. Like, even now, like you think of something like UFC, being the world heavyweight champion in UFC is a thing in mixed martial arts. But if you really think about it, in the 70s and 80s, UFC ain't exist. It's really in the 90s it didn't exist. It started at the very end of the 90s, and it's nowhere near what it is today. So it's like even in a little bit of time, there's always new things that we create. There's always new things that we create to put the hierarchy at who's best at this, to one up or to show that you got the skills in something, you know. But I think people lose what, like society loses their rite of passages, so they don't realize when that type of thing is being created, they let people come in and capitalize off of that, and really it's not something that's meant for that.
I had to step off, so I ain't hear your last statement.
I was saying
My
that
bad.
uh damn, what was I saying? Okay, let me go back.
Ooh.
I was saying that like basically people have lost the art, like society forgets the rite of passage, and I feel like when you look at history, there's societies that have made plenty of things to really test your might, to really show who's the best at something. Even when you think back at gladiators and stuff like that, like that's something we don't currently do, but at that time that was something that they created to, like, you know, even though, you know, his backstory, it was kind of spectacle, theatrical, but still, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So even when you come down to sports, like things like UFC, the UFC is like a humongous thing. Like that's really a big thing to come and be the champion in there. But realistically, like the UFC only existed within the 90s. People from the 70s and 80s, they ain't grow up with that shit. That's something new in the evolution of humans. Like, but now that's something that's a staple we use, and everybody, millions of people utilize that and know these people that are fighting and doing that in the same retrospect as gladiators. That was our current version of that. So like even down when you come up to that type of competition and rite of passage of me having to really battle for something, we've had that different iteration in different societies, and in our current as black people here, this is something that we've created to really do that and do that successfully. And I think that it's been perverse by having like people being able to not necessarily monetize off of it, because I feel like the people that are part of the culture, I feel like people that are part of our culture should be able to monetize off of it. Being able, people to be able to pull the strings and create narratives. It turns rap from UFC to WWE, and that's where
That's a
Drake
good
comes
analogy. I
in.
like that.
Yeah, because it becomes the gladiator version, but the theatrical version, because we know Mr. McMahon is pulling Mr. McMahon is pulling the strings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that is a good, like at a certain point I was very into WWE, even though I knew that it was storylines and things of that nature. Like going into it knowing that and
Right.
having that understanding, where people try to be like, oh, that shit's fake, duh, but I enjoy the story. If that was the case and we represented that and had its own thing and we understood that, it would be one thing. But when you try to create that but try to push it to me as it's still UFC,
Mm-hmm.
that makes me wonder, you
I
know what I
get you.
mean?
And then along with that, to continue the analogy, um, we all know that WWE is choreographed,
Yeah.
right? That being said, though, if a nigga hits you in the back with a chair, that shit still gonna hurt, even if he's just pantomiming, like he ain't hit you for real, like do you no damage. But
Yeah.
even if he smack you, it's still gonna hurt. So that being said, UFC WWE comparison to like hip hop and commercial rap, that's a great analogy. That's dope that you how you put it like that. But what I'm saying is with the WWE part, you still have to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you still got to get slammed. Your back still gonna hit that mat, you know. But the thing is, with the commercial side, I can't take anything away from what some of these guys do. All I'm saying is that's not the end all be all, and that's not the essence of hip hop. The essence of hip hop is UFC. You're not going to get a choreographed fight in the UFC. Now, it can be questionable. People can say, well, a fight can be fixed or whatever. Yeah, that's always possible. But for the most part, in UFC, those are two trained fighters who want to test themselves at their best against the best. And that's always been hip hop. This kumbaya ass, we all friends, but we all friends, and I'm dirty macking your chick type shit. This it's weird and it's not hip hop. It ain't never been that. It ain't never been that. Like we gonna have to get off into this bag too, cause
Uh-huh.
it's
Uh-huh.
been a lot of top. Somewhere along the lines, y'all niggas
You got it.
think that
You got it.
the street is crashing out and doing the dumbest shit possible and the most erratic shit possible, being reckless and not caring about who the fuck gets hurt behind or the consequences of what you do. And that's not street. They ain't never been fucking street. Street is a mentality. Street is a code in the way that you live your life. Street is shit that you won't do that will ever bring something back to your home or your community. Street is never violating your ethics and your morals. Street is doing dirt, but doing dirt by a code. It's still a right way to do wrong. That's street, not crashing out. Why would you rob your plug? What's your plan after that? Because if you rob your plug is your conduit to the connect.
You know why people do that? Because we live in a society where everything is shown to be instant gratification. People will rob somebody. I've literally seen people rob somebody who is giving them a way better deal than what they've been dealing with for the last couple of years, literally trying to find somebody for that purpose. And then they see that they cool and then rob them so that they can be up right now in this very moment, instead of realizing that you would make more money dealing with them properly over time in the long run than you would just trying to get off right now. But people don't think like that. We not in that society. People want it right now, and then they don't worry about the, they think, okay, I'm gonna do something right now and don't worry about the future problems. They don't worry about what this investment I'm putting in is gonna come. What's the effect of this, of what I'm about to do right now?
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous and it's unnecessary and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but like I said before, a lot of that has to do with people my age because we were so busy trying to be grown and trying to. Um, I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna back up before I say that. I'm 52 years old, 5'2", right? Turn turn 52 this year on March 9th. I remember growing up as a youngin and getting lessons from my grandma, my granddad, my mom, my dad, my uncles, my aunts, my older cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
What ended up happening was I experienced in my lifetime a transition from the older way of doing things into the advent of technology and the newer way of doing things. So I have like a left foot in one area and a right foot in the other area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when everything started to become advanced, I had to learn, or we, I should say, people my age had to learn all that stuff on the fly. So we were so engrossed in trying to keep up, we didn't reach back,
Mm-hmm.
and we dropped the ball on reaching back, which created the generation gap because we did not give the younger generation the lessons that we learned coming up the way we came from the old way. We were so busy trying to catch up, and then we're young people. We want to drink, we want to smoke. You know, all the banging music coming out, the club scene jumping. You know what I'm saying? Like we were around before computers, and we saw computers come to be. Like it was different. Everything became different real fast, and we dropped the ball on reaching back to the generations behind us to teach them the old way while we were learning the new way. So I can take responsibility for that as an individual and say to the younger generation, yeah, we did y'all a disservice. We really did. But still, with that, now that we can have this conversation, let's have the conversation. Let's take it without disrespect, both ways, from the older generation and younger generation. Let's repair the time that we wasted not putting y'all on game for real, for real. It's no, it's no, the Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane situation is so ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. It's what I said earlier. Why would you rob your plug? And why you doing it, man?
Monitored.
You got an ankle monitor on. Your boy got an ankle monitor on. You're there with your daddy. You put,
You renting
man.
cars in your name.
And the most ridiculous part of this situation, and that's a tall statement. But the most ridiculous part of this situation is the conversation is Gucci Man snitch. How? 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 How did he snitch? How did he snitch? How did he snitch? The nigga had an ankle monitor on. How did he cross state lines? multiple state lines with an ankle monitor on. It don't matter what Gucci said. This nigga gave them everything. They don't even need no investigation. They don't even need no investigation. They recorded it. It was an off-duty police officer there who also got robbed. And I ain't saying allegedly. Fuck y'all, because everything we've heard, we don't need no alleged on it. He can sue me all he want. He ain't gonna get nothing. And he gonna be in prison anyway, more than likely. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that y'all even discussed this and then actually carried it out. And nobody at no given point was like, yo, this is stupid. This is stupid. But the conversation is Gucci snitched. How? Y'all don't even know what y'all be talking about. Y'all don't even know what these terms mean. If Gucci did anything, he gave a statement because he was a victim of a crime. And he is currently not a criminal. As far as I know, he's currently not a criminal. Regardless of what the fuck he might have did back in the day. If he ain't in prison behind it, hey, what the fuck? Ain't excusing shit. I don't know that man. All I'm saying is what I fucking know about and what I've heard about and what's being reported. And from what I can gather from everything that I've heard and seen, it's no way that Gucci snitched on this man when they did all that ridiculous ass shit to get themselves caught the fuck up.
They wanted to get caught, bro. I don't know. They wanted the public to know that they robbed Gucci.
Nigga, you just came home.
Just came home.
You just came home.
He ain't got
you
no
have lawyers to negotiate contracts.
He ain't got no kids he got to worry about.
It's ridiculous. But that's where the current society. I don't understand this imaginary fairy tale land y'all choose to live in. It ain't real. It's not real. Wayne is not bigger than Kendrick right now because Kendrick is smoking boots right now. Wayne's last album went wood. And I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about with the people. The Carter 6 was trash. But y'all don't want to have them conversations because they're uncomfortable, because Wayne is your hero, he's your legend. You grew up with him. Nostalgia. But the shit was trash. JID right now is better than J. Cole. I argue with your mama, like y'all love to say. It's just the motherfucking truth. Which is also the reason why JID is not a bigger name than what the fuck he is. Also the reason why Ari Lennox got the fuck off that label. Y'all gotta be real at some point in time about what the fuck is going on in your life and what you see. And stop embracing this shit because it's snuggly. Because you're comfortable with it and it make you feel good. J. Cole been blowing smoke up y'all ass since he popped out after the fucking beef. And with some of them songs he dropped post beef. But y'all like it. Y'all eating it up. And he telling y'all, this nigga just got waived from a Chinese Monkey King team. What the fuck are y'all talking? Mela, please talk to these people.
Man, I'm trying to talk to y'all because obviously y'all ain't understanding what this man is saying. He is saying this man got waived from the what? The Chinese what team?
It was the Monkey Kings.
The Monkey Kings.
Now, disclaimer. They were honoring Sun Wukong, who was the Monkey King, who is basically where Goku and Dragon Ball came from. Like the legend of the Monkey King and that whole fable and everything. So they were honoring a Chinese hero, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. What is wrong, J. Cole, with your unseasoned ass is you ain't did not realize that culturally as a black man, you ain't had no business playing for the motherfucking Monkey Kings.
Hey man, I ain't gonna lie. When you see some stuff like that, bro, I don't care how they explain it. You just can't be associated with it, especially when your brand is considered the consciousness. And when you win the conscious people, you got to be conscious of what your people is doing, and what your people is doing is the same thing you should be doing. The same thing they shouldn't be doing is the same thing you shouldn't. Is going on a team called the Monkey King. You trying to be a king, but you're playing with the monkeys, and you got cut. You wasn't even good enough to be a monkey king. Come on. And then on top of that, man, look, it's certain things you just don't do, man. Look, I heard I was doing a deal and somebody recommended an inspector. And the name of their business is called Red Line Inspection or Red Line Inspections. Nigga, excuse me. If you know what red line is, why would you do inspections and name yourself red line? They try to put a description on why it made sense. It ain't make sense to me, so I didn't use them.
All I know, man, is we are in a weird time when you have. Check this out. Jay-Z said because of stan culture that he feels like battling should no longer be an element of hip hop. Like because you got sycophant fans and the way they conduct themselves online that battling should now no longer be an element in hip hop. You got Ja Rule recently saying that Drake was pretty much exploited by his label in the battle. You have personalities, you know, with podcasts and live streamers like throwing mad bill for Drake, and all of it is weird to me.
But you
All of
just
it is weird. Like, why are y'all caping so much for a loser of a rap battle? It makes no sense.
why does it not make sense when you just named only people that have lost rap battles?
Yeah,
Big
true
ones.
indeed. True
You
indeed.
name
True
people that have
indeed.
lost big rap
True
battles.
indeed. True
Of
indeed.
course they're gonna get behind that stance so they can feel like they are trying to remap how people view it so that they can review how history was ran.
True. Now, you are right in that aspect. I can see the losers of battles trying to reshape history and rewrite what battles should be and how they should be viewed. Yeah, but we're talking about staple people from the Keep It Real era who participated in battles. Even regardless if you lost or not, and like I said, I get your point, and that's a great point. But why y'all the ones talking, and you're not even talking on behalf of the hip hop cat. You're talking on behalf of the pop dude. You're actively trying to discredit an element of hip hop for the cat who ain't even hip hop. And it's weird, and it's also weird how feminine Drake's music makes some dudes act who really love Drake's music like that. I don't. Hey, I I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. All I can do is clock it. I'm kind of glad for it. I'm the reason why I say I'm kind of glad for it. What that battle did for me and for a lot of people who think like me, who understand like the core of hip hop and the roots and the elements of it and what it's really supposed to be. We're glad to see things pan out the way they did, so we can recognize the motherfuckers who been hiding amongst us the whole time, who really don't like hip hop. They don't love it the way when you can have a 21 Savage say, "Well, Kendrick is a rapper, and I don't even really like rap like that. I mean, I do." No, you said what you said. You said what you said. You're not from it. you don't adore it, you don't work better or harder to be better at it, you don't do the history to see like the founders, women and men who gave their all, crafted their whole identities to be a part of this thing. You don't respect it, so you feel like it's just a money grab, and that's why you niggas don't know what to drop right now because real niggas are outside.
Oh no, no, no! Trust me, they know what to drop right now because they consistently do it. You don't see it; they dropping consistently, dropping the ball, dropping the bar, and every bar they drop ain't even the bar. How you drop the bar? And you ain't a bar. They dropping the bar and they ain't got no bars.
Bro, like for me, being 52, I said it, told the people that earlier. The thing was, at a certain point, I cashed out of hip hop because I peeped out how everything was going, and it became less and less about actual lyrics and more about shaking your ass and the vibes and the melodies. You got people who can't really sing, but if they can like hold a passable note and then slap some auto tune on it, that was the hot shit. And it became less and less about actually saying something, less and less about being fly and being witty with what you were presenting to the people, less and less about the core essence and how you did your production and the beats and the soul and the funk, and more about watered down, catchy, gimmicky, uh, 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 3-4 bar hook that you can repeat over and over that you can remember real fast, and then you off to the races. So I cashed out. I cashed out on hip hop for a long time. I was going back and listening to old shit or digging in the digital crates and finding new hip hop artists who was giving me the feel of the old shit that I grew up with. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I was aware of Drake, of course, but I wasn't a fan of his music. And I didn't actively play any Drake music on none of my playlists, or like you're not gonna find me playing no damn Drake. And I can say the same for Kendrick. I can say the same for Cole. I was aware of these cats, and I appreciated Cole and Kendrick's artistry more so than I could of Drake, because I understood Drake was just like for the catchy side, like for the moment, it's gonna be something you play in the spot, but you ain't taking that shit home to mama type shit. But even with Kendrick and Cole, I still was like they didn't give me that feeling that I grew up with in hip hop. Cole had the structure in his the way he framed his bars, right? He had that old school New York feel blended with a little bit of the South, because of course he's from North Carolina by way of Germany. But yeah,
By the way, Jeremy.
yeah. But at the same time, um, Kendrick Kendrick was a ball of fire. The first song I heard from Kendrick was Rigor Mortis back in the day, and I had an old ass, like this is back in the day. Back in the day, I had an old ass phone, and I was going around. It was like might have been the early days of me getting Spotify, as a matter of fact. And I had an old ass phone, but everywhere I went, I was like, "Did y'all hear this? Y'all hear this dude, Kendrick Lamar? It's on Rigor Mortis." And they were like, "Nah," and I play it for them. They were like, "Yo, that shit is crazy." So, but as time went on, listening to Kendrick rap, I didn't understand why he would put certain, like, why he would rap certain bars a certain way, or why he would put, because I'm like, what is? Fast forward, because I'm fumbling right now, but fast forward. The battle and everything I learned surrounding that battle and how we got to where we are now was like the decoder ring for Kendrick's lyrics. Because once I got those niggas, I'm like, oh, okay. Now I understand why you would phrase this the way you phrased it and put it in with that bar. It made sense. It unlocked something, and I'm like, in retro, okay, boom, I got it. That never happened with me for Cole, and of course I wasn't on Drake time in no way. But to be here in 2026, seeing how all of this shit went down, rekindling the love I had for like what's quote unquote mainstream. I'm doing air quotes, y'all can't see me. Mainstream hip hop, and know that it was an underground battle rapping, background, backup hype man that set the world on fire
You talking about Tupac?
and took out the #1 commercial rapper is a beautiful fucking thing for somebody my age. Because people like me have been telling the commercial rap lovers forever. If there ever came a time when two niggas would lock heads and one nigga was the highest commercial nigga and the other nigga was the highest underground nigga, the commercial nigga is going to lose. And they laughed at us and said we was fucking stupid. And that's why we got what the fuck we got now, because these niggas' minds is fucked up. They have been traumatized. Psychological warfare. They don't know what to fucking do because they always thought the money, the power, the fucking flash, the streams, all that shit meant something when it didn't. It's about the people. Sorry, Mela. Go ahead, get the people. Get it. Say something.
Something. Heck yeah, something. Yep, uh-huh. What you uh-huh. You said you want me to say huh? Would you wait what huh? You said what uh-huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right. But bro, I mean, y'all, I wish, and I got a lot of hip hop knowledge, but you know, I don't have all the hip hop knowledge, of course, but I have a great amount of hip hop knowledge, and I wish that by osmosis I could share it with the people who wasn't around when hip hop came about. So they can just like bro like everything that everybody be talking about and how they think y'all supposed to feel about hip hop ain't it. Cause first it's not a genre of music. It's a movement. It's revolutionary. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It's supposed to push the envelope. We're supposed to compete with each other. It's not personal. It ain't venomous. I don't hate you. You my brother. You my sister. It's just how we communicate with each other. Before hip hop, before rap, it was fucking signifying. Well, not before signifying, but around the same time as signifying, you had blue comedians such as Dolomite who used to rhyme and rhyme against other people on some pimp shit. Putting comedy and explicit sexuality sometimes for the most part. Like Millie Jackson was the same way. This shit ain't personal. Y'all make it personal because y'all start pocket watching. You start making the accolades become bigger than the art. The art comes first. And the accolades ain't even ours. It's theirs. I told you, these niggas infiltrated our shit. They threw their money around because we were poor. But we created hip hop because we were tired of doing violence to each other. Like they never cared about us. They never cared about this. We cared about us. So we stopped doing violence to each other to create this. And now the nigga that most of y'all want to be to only represent hip hop. The nigga y'all only want to represent hip hop. Ain't even a nigga ain't even a hip hop nigga, and he's taking hip hop to court. And not only is he taking hip hop to court, he's taking free speech to court. Because if he wins, which I doubt he will, because the shit is goofy as a motherfucker and it's bitch made. But if he was to succeed, it's detrimental to hip hop and free speech as a whole. Now, when you in the supermarket, you call a motherfucker a bitch ass bitch because they was being a bitch ass bitch, you can get sued for defamation. You were just trying to get some tomatoes. When somebody else is being goofy and you called them what the fuck they was being in that time, and now you sued for defamation. Because Drake set a precedence to where, hey, and he egged the nigga on. Drake was outside, circling in this nigga house, telling him to come outside, throwing rocks and shit. He did all of that. But yeah, that's y'all champion, so. Okay. It ain't fun. Hip hop ain't been fun without Drake. How? We have got so many great hip hop albums since 2024. So many great hip hop albums. Arguably, shit we would have never got if Drake would have been a predominant front runner of hip hop. Arguably, because nobody would have wanted to take a risk. Because Drake was blowing everything up, right? He was everything. He was Afro beats. He was jazz. He was funk. He was disco. He was doing everything. But it's crazy that the nigga that can do everything but don't do any of it well, you would rather have leading everything as opposed to the people who really do it. If I want to listen to R&B, I'm going to listen to R&B. Somebody who actually sings. Because nobody ever says Drake is a great singer. They say they like his melodies. Nobody, ain't nobody really saying Drake is a great rapper because he's not. Like I was telling Mela earlier, when Drake wants to get lyrical, if you don't believe me, when Drake's most lyrical songs are when he's doing a shun rhyme scheme, which is ION words, or ing rhyme scheme, which is ING words. That's his definition of being lyrical. He just string a bunch of them back to back. And y'all be like, oh what? Listen. Listen. It's crazy how since all of this shit popped off, I heard so many people say they can't tolerate Kendrick because he do strange voices and all of that. But at the same time, y'all will accept Drake having fake accents. Like word. So you won't tolerate the dude who's using his actual voice and he just alters it to express emotion in his bars as he's flowing, and y'all call it flow state. You won't accept that, but you accept the whole ass nigga putting on accents that ain't him. He don't even do it good, and that's okay. That's all I'm saying. Y'all different. Y'all different. But if you go back and listen to hip hop, go back and do your hip hop history, you will understand what the fuck I'm saying. Go back and do your hip hop history. See how these people were standing on their business for creating their image and their personality, their fashion, their swag, their style. The lengths they will go to defend that. As opposed to what it is now when everybody want to sound alike. Everybody wants to have the same video. Nobody wants to like to push the creative boundaries. You got this big ass video budget, and you wanted to just shoot a video with a bunch of nice cars, a bunch of girls at the club, flashing money, and you just diddy bopping around in the scene, ain't doing nothing, ain't telling no story or nothing to your song. It's a place for that in hip hop. Don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be the standard. We used to have balance. We used to have an NWA along with Public Enemy, along with a Tribe Called Quest, along with Leaders of the New School, along with Uncle Luke. It was balanced. It was everything for everybody. But uniquely their own. All of those people stood out, had their own sound, had their own identity, had their own thing they was bringing for the culture because they respected the culture. And they respected themselves enough to not want to sound like the next person. Because like I said, hip-hop started from the desire for us to not do violence against each other anymore. So why would I take what's yours, what you work for, your sound, and then portray it as if it's mine? That's violence towards you. But ain't that what Drake been accused of? Like I told Mela earlier, imagine if Drake or I'm not gonna accuse Drake of it. I'm gonna say it this way because this was the story from the weekend. Imagine if Weekend had never got drunk to the point where he gave Drake the majority of the material that he came up with, meaning the weekend, and Drake ended up putting it on Take Care. What would Drake be now if the weekend was sober and that never happened? Because the weekend didn't sign to Drake. He was smart enough to not do that, even with being drunk. But he did give up his music, and that is what it is. But once again, arguably now, the weekend is a bigger artist than Drake. Because he didn't sign. But guess who did? Party Next Door signed with Drake. McConan signed with Drake. A couple other people signed with Drake. And they never took the fuck off. We all know what happened during the battle and what the accusations was as far as the Atlanta niggas. And oddly enough, them the same niggas who standing up for Drake, who cable for Drake now, because they shit ain't popping. They shit ain't popping. Now, it might have been some symbiosis shit going on with Drake and them niggas. But Young Thug dropped an album. I guess he was the white man album. Drake trying to drop the Iceman album, but Young Thug was a white man, a whole ass white man on this album cover. And that shit went cardboard. Once again, with the people, not talking about industry and sales. That shit went cardboard with the people.
I don't
21 dropped the album, didn't go nowhere. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
I don't understand how people could do such biotics like that. I just don't get it. Like, you don't, like, are you just so not conscious of your audience or not conscious of the world you live in that you're just soliciting yourself like that? Like, what are you, like, what deals are you making that you're really doing this? Like, it makes no sense. Like, who is getting in your ear and telling you that this shit is okay? You need it. Everybody needs somebody to tell them what they wrong. At least La Russell had a producer to tell them not to do it. Some people can't even say that.
Oh Lord, La Russell, a whole other conversation.
At least La Russell had a producer to tell them not. Some people can't even say that. So it's like, who is telling these people it's okay? Because that Young Thug stuff, he should have known better. He better off was trying to double down and do an extra blackface with extra paint. He was better off trying to go that direction, and still people would have seen the coonitality that was going on.
Bruh,
You know what's so crazy? these people become coons. Wait. They be already cooning, and then they get a little money, and they coon even more. And they talk about rack. I'm starting to think that all these racks they talking about is just a prefix to coon. They raccooning out this mug.
Yo,
Raccooning.
that's the second or third good analogy that you done drop, homie.
I'm
I'm
just
trying to
saying.
told you.
I'm just saying, man. It's a crazy world we living in, and it's a crazy landscape that they rapping in.
Everything is ass backwards. Everything is ass backwards.
It's crazy because I'm pretty sure that most of these artists start out and then they gotta get the distribution, and they either gotta go to BMI or ASCAP, and a lot of them choose ASCAP even in these day and ages. But when they get on the big labels, they still ASCAP because if you listen to their music, you will realize that they ass.
And they cap. Oh, you stupid. But it worked. It all worked. It's look, all I know is this. Hip hop has gotten to a point where the internet has allowed people to have voices that normally wouldn't have voices in real life. Some of these people are able to talk because they can sit behind their phone or their laptop or their PC or whatever the case may be, however they communicate in the online atmosphere. And they're able to say things and get involved in conversations that they can't even get involved with in real life. They would not have been at the lunch tables having these conversations. They would not have, or they'd have been on the outskirts, the very outskirts of the beatbox situation in the corner of the bathroom while two cats rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like, the access to hip hop has come to a point where people who have access to microphones are saying shit that's fucking irrelevant because they don't understand. But if they talk enough shit and get a big enough audience, now they feel like, well, I'm validated in being able to say, no, the fuck you ain't. No, the fuck you not. And we need to cut you the fuck off. We need to cut you the fuck off. There's no way academics should be saying, what this nigga say? He said Kendrick spoiled the fun in hip hop with all that woke shit. I say Kendrick said spoiled all the fun in hip hop, meaning took Drake off the map with all that woke shit. As a black man who's supposed to be Jamaican or Caribbean or whatever the fuck, but why are you using right wing talking points in how you address this man who always championed hip hop, black people, and culture? For a nigga that only thing he talk about is exploiting black women, he constantly attacks black women in real life. Women who he's had past relationship with, who have gone on and married other people or happy in other situations. Years later, he's still shooting shots at them in his music. They don't make music. They do whatever the fuck they do. Right? Shoot shots at their spouses or their partners or whatever the situation is. You the certified lover boy, but you can't keep a woman.
You, you know what's the problem? His OGs in the game is who he take after, and to show you a little proof of that, he made a song. What was that song called? What would Pluto do? Right?
Mm-hmm.
He up here thinking about what would Pluto do, talking about meeting the chick that was his homies. He'd deal with her, da 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 da. And that was supposed to be a shot at Pluto, but you show what Pluto would do, because just like what you were speaking of about what he doing in example, Serena Williams, like she ever made a track. Okay, what would Future do? And Future is still taking shots at a woman he has a child with, taking shots at her with music, blowing up on it, and still won't take a shot at calling her and asking about his child. It's just crazy. It's just he hanging out with other people that be doing the same things he doing, and he learning from example. That's the problem.
It's
Drake
prime
should have had
bitch
a better
acidness.
example around him.
Prime bitch acidness. Cause I remember being on Facebook and seeing YouTube comments, and the word or the consensus, I should say, was that Russell Wilson was corny, and how the hell could Sierra pick Russell Wilson over Future? And I'm like, the nigga's a deadbeat and a womanizer. Why wouldn't she pick Russell Wilson to actually build and have some kind of foundation of solidarity to build a family with over Future? You raggedy ass niggas. Y'all niggas is weird. And a lot of y'all need therapy, because some of y'all been hurt by women and you never came to grips that it was you and not her. But I don't know all y'all situations, because some of y'all it could have been her.
Sometimes it
You know,
really
it
be her.
just